Hey there guys, and welcome to Railway Operation Simulator. This is a bit of a weird one because this game, I've been playing it for a couple of years. It doesn't lend itself to YouTube, but making tutorials for it does, which is effectively what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a couple of episodes on the process of creating a route to operate in this game. But first I'm going to show off one of my routes I already have, if I can find it. This is one that I made recently. So the idea with Railway Operation Simulator, actually, if I just set it up and start playing, is you can effectively you make your route and put a timetable in it, and then you can be the signaller and control the trains, which is basically what's happening here. So I know there's a train coming from there, that's what this actions G panel is telling me, and I can set a route for it through Stratford. In reality, I'd make the game faster because at 4 AM there's not a lot going on. But this is effectively a game is a loose term for it. For most people this is not a game, but it is for me. I find it enjoyable. So, but yeah, that's kind of the purpose, and the end goal is something like this. Obviously not this exact route because I've already made this one. So, first things first is to clear the screen so that I've got a blank screen and go into build route. As you can see, I've got a window in the bottom right of Chrome. If any of you have watched my live stream, you'll have seen this before. This is what I typically use for NIMBY Rails to work out track layouts, but it's also very useful in this situation to know where to build tracks. So I'm building the Romsey and Salisbury area today. That's what I've decided. It's going to be my next route. I'm going to start at the junction with the Southwest Main Line. So I'm not going to actually build the junction. I'm going to start just after it. So if I put some, if I turn the grid on as well, that is helpful to build with. Put some continuation, so that's where trains can spawn and leave the system, and then just straight track for a bit. So I'm choosing which piece to place by clicking it up in the top in the menu, and then left clicking each grid square that I wanted on. I'm just going to place a load of them for now, and we'll come back and trim down to a reasonable amount later. I'm also going to need the Chandler's Ford branch, which I'm going to put up here. Now, I already know what I want to have happen with this branch. Basically, I know it becomes a single track almost instantly, so I'm just going to put that in there. And I've got a signal. I've got signal set to 4 aspect at the moment. I pretty much exclusively use 4 aspect and shunt signals. Operationally, 4 aspect, 3 aspect and 2 aspect have minimal difference in this game. Trains drive at the fastest speed they can and know when to start slowing down for a signal. There's no sort of sighting distances or anything, so there's no benefit to having more aspects as such, other than it being realistic. So, by the looks of it, there's a signal heading out of the single track. There's obviously Chandler's Ford Station partway along. This is deceptive because on the track diagram, it looks like a really long stretch of track. In reality, Chandler's Ford to Eastleigh to Romsey through Chandler's Ford is effectively the same length as Romsey to Redbridge. Chandler's Ford is very close to Eastleigh though, so what I am going to do is put the platform there. What we'll see in a later episode when I get to it, after building the track layout, is you set the speeds and distances of the track yourself, so it's not like one segment is a certain speed and a certain distance. That can be modified. So it's not a major issue that if I get them the wrong in the wrong place, the train will just take longer to traverse some segments. That said, you want them to be reasonably similar, otherwise the train will massively change speed visually as it progresses. So if I come up here to Romsey, I just need to try and work out how I want to do this. I'm thinking I probably don't want to do that. I think I probably want to come onto a diagonal. As weird as it looks, this I feel is the best bet. So I want a signal like that, and one down here. And just build the diagonals along. That said, this is quite a lengthy diagonal, because I want it to be in line with the line across from Redbridge. That's the aim. If anything, I've put the Chandler's Ford branch a bit too high, if you look at it now, but actually that's going to become useful when it comes to putting in names later. So I probably want the other signal there. There's no sets of points or anything before the junction, it's just the signal. And then I need points there, and we need a crossover. Now here's the key, make sure you get the right crossover. That one's level. These are flyovers and dive unders. So you've got to make sure you click the right one. So I guess I should go through the different icons we've got. We've got normal track, we've got track with directional arrows, which I will put in, but I put it in after everything else. We've got curves. These are gaps, so the train, you connect two gaps together, the train will leave at one and enter at the other. So they can be used for bridges and tunnels, along with these green pieces on the right, which are just decorative. There's the continuations, entering and leaving the network, buffers, sidings, signals, and then footbridges and underpasses. And big block of points, big block of crossovers. Red is stations, blue is other named locations, and then finally, over on the right, the level crossing, which we may or may not be using depending on how big this route ends up. I tend to put them in if the route looks like it would be reasonably simple to operate without it, because they're an added level of complexity. If it looks like the route might be reasonably complicated to operate, I leave them out. In terms of platforms, a train is 2 tiles long, as you saw earlier. I typically will make a small station will be 2 tiles long platform, such as Chandler's Ford. However, if it's a station where trains might be splitting or joining or platform sharing, it will need to be longer than that. At least 4, really. I don't know off the top of my head if trains split and join at Romsey, but I feel like it's a possibility, so I'm going to make the platform 4 long, just in case. If it never gets used, that's not an issue. But I don't want it to be needed and have to come back and retrofit it later. That's the key thing. So, and we've got signals along there. I've just roughly evenly spaced them. I don't know exactly where the signals are. I don't have the means to find out. I have the means to find out everything else, but signal placement is a mystery. So I typically will just spread them out evenly. In terms of the other side of Romsey, there's a set of points there. There's also a siding by the looks of it, which I didn't know about, so I'm going to have a look at Open Railway Map and see what that actually looks like. There is a siding. Helpfully, Open Railway Map doesn't show the crossover that I've just built. But I will leave it in because it's on Traxy, and I typically find Traxy to be a more reliable resource. What I will do is, I mean, that's a bit weird actually. So there's not a signal shown for it, but I feel like it would be helpful to have a shunt signal there to allow entrance and exit from the siding. It's a bit of a weird one because I don't know how you'd even get onto that track. Well, I guess you'd be coming from Salisbury, you'd have to reverse. There's no other way to do it, really. Oh, that needs to be that way round. Okay, there we go. Sometimes there's a level of having to rebuild something. It becomes pretty normal. I did that wrong. The siding only needs to be 2 tiles long. I highly doubt I'll be storing more than 1 train in it. There we go. And bring the straight tracks along. So, next, there's some level crossings becoming involved. Now, the other thing is, even if I do include level crossings, I only include level crossings that the signaller would have to worry about. So, automatic half barriers, for example, are operated solely by the train passing a treadle on the track. The signaller does not have to worry about them. They just work by themselves. However, the more major level crossings that a signaller would have to worry about, I would include. I don't know if any of these would be operated by a signaller or not, so I'm going to leave them out for now and add them in later, if I need to, when I get to looking at the sectional appendix. This looks like it's actually quite a distance, so I'm actually going to spread out a bit more than that even. There's a signaller either end of the platform. This is Mottisfont and Dunbridge. And then we head out to Dean. So I'm skipping these signals that don't have block sections. I'm assuming are distance signals only. I do have a way to check that actually. And that is to use this site. However, I now have to find the map. And it's a bit fussy about it sometimes. Here we go. So this one also helpfully numbers the signals. So this diagram doesn't show that crossover, so maybe it doesn't exist. I have no easy way to tell. I think I'm going to leave it in, just in case. It also shows a limit of shunt, which means maybe the siding's been disconnected, who knows. What it looks like, though, is... So if this diagram shows a distance signal, it will be clear because of the signal number. I don't think it's showing any distance signals, is my inclination. They've all got blocks, but if we compare it to track C, there's the same number of signal blocks. So between Mottisfont and Dunbridge and then Dean, there's 1 block, and then there's 1 block in each station, which is what we've got here. So I'm going to stick with the number of signals I've got. I think this is accurate. So I'm going to carry on following track C because it's a bit easier to see. So we want 1 signal in each direction on the way to Dean. Probably don't want them too far apart, all things considered. Maybe like that. There we go. Just fill it in with straight tracks. And station goes there. As we carry on, it gets a bit more complicated again. I want to look at Dean on this diagram quickly. So this shows an engineer's site and nothing else shows. I'm going to leave that out, I think. This is why you should build off the sectional appendix and not do what I do. What have we got up here? Normal 2-track line. Everything's fine. So what I'm confused by is this crossover and siding, which I can't see on this diagram, on this map. I might leave them out. This map's going to be more useful in terms of number of signals up to the junction. I'm also going to want to do something fancy with the junction, so I'm going to just drag this down. I know you can't see the bit on the right, bottom right now, but I'm not going to build over there, so that's fine. I'm just going to build this out, and basically I want to go up to there. Come on. Delete. There we go. Now, we have... Well, I mean, this is complicated. So, I'm also going to need the other end of the gaps over here. Sort of there-ish. What I'm actually going to do... That's the distance I'd normally go to the edge if I had limited space, but I don't think I'm going to be at danger of running out of space. There's 6 tiles on that side. I've only got 5 on that side, so let's drag it that way one more. Obviously you can go off the screen, it just means when you're playing it you have to pan around and move the entire layout to see different parts of it, and that is a bit awkward to manage. So I will typically try and build a route that fits all on one screen, if I can. Probably roughly that long between the 2 signals, maybe one more. In the other direction, we need a shunt signal in line with that. And then 3 signals. Really, 3? Okay. 3 signals. Feels like a lot of signals. What I'll also do is, given there's a shunt signal there, there's a risk of a train actually turning around there in service, so I will put a location in so that we can name it. I can only instruct a train to turn around at a named location. So it's important to name any signals where a train might actually be needing to turn around. Now, we're starting to build the triangle junction here. I know that I don't want to include Greatley Station over here. Here we go. That's what I'm trying to explain. Greatley Station is already in a different map that someone else has made for the game, so I don't want to bother including it. However, I do want to include at least one of the signals after the junction. Basically, I think the size of this junction is going to highly depend on where the signals fit. I'm just going to chuck some points there. We'll have a signal coming... Actually, it's going to have to be longer than that. We'll have a signal coming off the diagonal, but it will have to be like there. Basically, it needs at least 2 tiles behind it for a train to fit in. What I think I'm going to do is that, and then I will add one of those and one of those. That looks a bit weird now, but it will be better. I'm also going to have a signal there, and then connect up the diagonals. Connect up the vertical, and then the horizontals come across to a continuation. And we want at least one signal in each direction. However, I'm now unhappy with that again because I've just noticed there's a shunt signal on that line, which has got in my way. Right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to cut and paste this over a couple of blocks. Not much, just a little bit. I'm just going to move those signals slightly so they're still evenly spaced. The intention here is I'm going to rebuild that again. Oh, I've moved the entire map. That's not planned. Let's just put it back. Click new home, then I can just click home to get it back to this location. Basically, I want at least one signal in each direction on this stretch. Preferably, I'd like two, but that's a bit excessive. It's unlikely to happen. The other situation is, I guess it's there. Okay, so I'll have a signal there. I'm clicking the wrong button, that's why it's not doing what I expected. A signal there, and the main signal heading in there. Sorted. I also need to, I'd forgotten this, I need to put locations on the continuations. Like so. I need a set of points in there. And coming off there. I'm also going to need curves there. So, then we have a shunt signal and a normal signal. So what that's done is it means I now have a diagonal. Oh, please change. There we go. I now have a diagonal that a train could stop on at that shunt signal. The problem is you can't put a non-named location, a non-station named location, on a diagonal track. I don't know why. You just can't. You can put them on curves, just not diagonals. So, given that, was this worth it? Salisbury signal territory. So what I could do is I could just look up to see if a train does actually ever stop there in the timetable. Salisbury signal. Well, it'll be SY 202. No, the only actually named locations are 215, 217, and 240. So we work out which ones they are. 215, 217, so the two approaching Salisbury, and 240, so one up the other end. It could be it could be 31 as well. I don't know if it would actually be SY. That's the problem. I'm going to take the approach. Trains probably don't stop there, and therefore I probably don't need a location name. I'm going to leave the signal in because the signal does exist. And I'm going to take the approach. I probably don't need the location name. The signal heading in the other direction is going to go there, and have a very long diagonal. It bothers me how close together the two diagonals are, but it works. It's not a major issue. I can move them further apart if I want to. I just don't want to. Put the crossover in, that track in, and that one, and then we'll have a set of points, or a signal even at the other end. And that's then all of that area, the triangle junction, done. The next step is more signals and hopefully a tunnel. I kind of want to show the tunnel. The problem is I need to work out exactly where the tunnel is. I'm down here, this is the bit I'm looking at. Ignore Westbury. So it's Fisherton Tunnel is what I'm trying to show, but I don't know which side of it the signal is on. I mean, it starts right after the junction. What I might do is go and look at Google Maps quickly. So, Google Maps is helpfully showing 3 tracks. How nice of it. Okay, looking at that, given that the points start literally in the tunnel portal, I'm going to assume the signal is before the tunnel starts. It's unlikely to be in the tunnel. So they will try and avoid that typically. So I'm going to assume it's the other side of the tunnel. So based on that information, I'm actually going to get rid of that. I'm going to put the gaps in, and at the other side, and then I'm going to use these nice green pieces to design the 2 tunnel portals. There we go. Now then, signal in, and a signal out, and a shunt signal. I have to put the track in before the location. There we go. What next? I'm actually thinking that open train times map might be easier to work with here. It doesn't show me the depot terribly well, but nothing will show me the depot terribly well. So what I need is a set of points. I actually want to be 1 up. If there's anything that resembles something that could be a siding there, I want it named, even if I'm never going to stop a train in it. It looked like on Google Maps it was completely overgrown, but I want to have the ability to stop a train there if I need it. Then we need to look at this diagram. I mean, that's not much of a junction, is it? That one. That seems relatively unimportant. So I'm just going to carry on the straights a little bit longer. Up to about here. We need a shunt signal on those 2 lines, and both of those need nets. We actually stop trains at those. Then we have an upwards facing point and a ladder down. Technical terms. The ladder is actually a technical term, weirdly enough. So my understanding is that... What is my understanding? So there's the first junction off the top. So that's that one. That's signal 212. The second one is this one. So that's what we've just built. This one actually goes places. And by places, I mean 1 line in Salisbury East Yard. But that's still places. As we carry on down, that's the ladder that I built. Then there's another set of points up about there. Is there a signal in between? Yes, heading in that direction. What I'm then going to do is... it's not marked on the diagram, but I'm going to assume that there is a signal out of both sidings. I'm going to build both sidings, and I'm going to name the location. Then the third line carries on and rejoins the main line, so that's fine. The building process in complicated areas like this does become a lot of just looking at the map and trying to work out exactly what's happening. I want signals there, I think. A signal there. Oh no, not a signal, a set of points to come up. And I'm just going to build 3 tracks, but then there is a 4th. What we then have is a set of points there and a set of points there. And I have to try and work out what happens with these. So by the looks of it, what I want is this. Oh, maybe not a set of points actually on that one. Maybe that one's just a curve. I typically try and avoid using, so there are, but I try and avoid using the 90-degree turns and points. I find they look a little weird as the trains go across them, so I will avoid them at all costs. There's nothing wrong with them as such, I just don't like using them. This is out to Salisbury East carriage sidings, so we have a set of points there, and there's 2 sides. The diagonals are sometimes a little difficult to find the exact ones you want. So I'm just going to line up the signals. Don't have to line up the signals, I've just chosen to. And then name the locations. What I have just noticed is that's not going to work. But that's fine, because I have space. Basically, different names can't be adjacent to each other. Those 2 locations are going to have different signal numbers, so they have to be staggered so they don't connect. But there we go. Now we're on the 4-track stretch. So there's a signal there. That's a start. The bottom track goes into the bay platform at Salisbury. So what I'm seeing is we need to actually work out how Salisbury is going to be built. Basically, I'm not happy with that layout. It's really what's happening here. I would prefer it to be laid out like that. Because that's going to be the end of the platform. At which point there's going to be a platform there. Salisbury is a very complicated station, but bear with me. That's what I'm going for, I think. Good, there are signals at the end of the platforms. Sometimes there aren't, and I don't understand why the railway is built like that, but it's a nightmare. Basically, I think we want that. We've got another 2 tracks, and they each have their own platform, like so. That feels reasonably accurate. Wait, no it doesn't. Why doesn't it? The platform here is below the track, it's to the south. The platform here is to the north. I guess I have to check it on Google Maps to find out which one it actually is. It's definitely to the south. Yeah, I thought it was. On the other side, they're to the north. Okay. So there isn't a signal there, though. That's a key one. It is not much of a platform, that top one. I think it is pretty much just a road for ECS moves, but oh well. Out the other side, we have a signal, but then those top 2 are shunts. I'm also going to have to cut that back. So we have 2 shunts down the bottom, 2 shunts up the top, 2 tracks here. This one technically has a platform, although it is out of use. But I will include it, just in case. I mean, it's not used in regular public service. I think they staple trains there a lot. But that's about it. Alright, then what do we have? The main line continues on out of the middle 2 tracks. So I'm just going to extend that out a bit. We have a ladder down across 2 of them from the top line. And a ladder down across there, which fans out into all of the bottom tracks. Like so. Actually, the bottom one, not like that, that's the wrong way round, continues into some sort of siding. Which I'm just going to put like this. I'm also going to name that location and extend that block out. By naming that location, I can store a train there. That one's technically part of Salisbury Station as a location, and therefore I can store a train there, although I can't specify a specific platform. So that's... I mean, that's a bit weird. That's not actually... it kind of is accurate, actually. Yeah, okay, that's accurate enough. So that's out to the main line. What I don't have is any of Salisbury Depot, which is where this line goes. So there's the toss-up here of, do I just have a continuation and the depot is just off the map, I don't have to worry about it, or do I model the entire depot and put it under signal control? Given I'm not sure there's going to be a great deal more to this map, I'm inclined to do the latter, but it will be a lot more on the timetabling front. How much information do we have with regards to depot moves from trains? If I get, say, this service from Salisbury to Signal 240 to Salisbury, well, that's not as fun. Oh, I want one that actually uses the depot. Here we go. It's an as required, but Salisbury reception line, Salisbury TRSMD. What would you say is the reception line in this depot? I'm pretty sure it's this bit out here. And reverse it. I might build it. I might actually build it. I'm crazy, I know. Basically, what we're going to have for it is I'll give 1 block space, 1 tile of space. Crossover one way, crossover the other way with a split out into a new line. That is where the signals are going to be. There's then 2 tiles that I'm going to name. Signals in the other direction. That one comes up like so. Gets a signal, tile and a buffer. I'm not sure if I can do that. It would be nice if I could, I'm not sure I can. In actual fact, the point of I want to do this in reality. This is going to look a little weird, I will admit. That's what I'm going for. I'll name that. Coming out the other way, how many tracks are there in this depot? 9 lines. Okay, so can go this far back, really. Nine tracks. And put a signal on each of them. And the issue then is spreading out from that. See, I'm not actually so sure about this. That particular layout I wasn't happy with. To the point I might resort to 90-degree turns if I can't make a layout that I am happy with. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that without a 90-degree turn. Okay. I want a Y junction there. And then this is the problem. I can fit it in, but it just looks a bit weird because some of the signals are so far away from the ladder, which is why I'm thinking maybe the 90-degree curves would be better in this situation. So that I can get them all a bit closer together and closer to their actual location. So what I might do, actually, Control E to open up the select tool and edit, delete. Oh, it's Control Delete, of course. I was wondering why delete wasn't working. Well, obviously it's Control Delete. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But it's only 9. So then I'm going to turn them. Actually, I can almost do them all at 45-degree angles. Like that. It's only the last one I'd struggle with. As such, I will resort to 90 degrees for the last one. There we go. I'm also going to make them all double length sidings, because then I can fit 2 trains in them. I think Salisbury does store quite a lot of trains, and being able to store multiple in each siding. Actually, I can store kind of infinite in each siding if it's long enough for 2 to fit in, because every time 2 trains join, they become 1 train length, 2 tiles. So I could just keep joining more on, and it will always be 2 tiles. I just need a second pair of tiles for the train to come in on initially. But there we go, a depot. It looks a bit weird. I may come back and change that. We will see. But for now it's okay. As we come out the other side of Salisbury, I'm going to go back to this map for now. We have a signal here, which needs its location. And a signal there, and one there. We then need a signal out here, and one there. And that's as we come out towards the junction. Wilton Junction. So I'm just going to look. How far away from the head shunt is it? Quite away, all things considered. I might just move this out a bit further. There we go. That's probably better. We'll then have a junction like that. It's a bit complicated now because we're getting into areas that I don't really know the layout of. what I can see is I'd probably want a shunt signal there out to a continuation for Quidhampton siding. It looks like on Open Railway Map it was quite a bit more than just one siding. Hence the multiple, or hence the continuation, so I don't have to build it. Heading out the other way, I've said I wanted to not include Tisbury. As it goes into single track, I'd like to stop while we're still on the double track section. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get it all the way out to be in line with the gap. We'll have to settle with being a bit closer to the junction. So I'm just going to put the continuation there. It's a bit closer to the junction than I'd like it being. In terms of on the diagram and actual distance. But there's not a lot I can do about that. What I'm then going to do is curve this way. I do want to build out to Dilton Marsh, although I may change my mind about that when I see how many signals I have to put in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 1. How far is this? From memory, it's actually quite a distance. It is a pretty good way. It's about the same distance as Salisbury to Romsey. Two, 3. Where does the gap go? There. 4, 5, 6. That feels like reasonable spacing. In terms of trying to cover a reasonable distance as well. And then there's a set of points, so we'll wait for that. The other way, there's only the 5 signals. 1, 2, 3, 4. How have I only got... I'm confused. I know how I've done it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. That feels better. Now the problem is, track C is now upside down in comparison to what I'm building, and that makes it a little difficult to work out what's going on. I might go to open train times in the hopes that it will be the right way up. Oh, it's not. Wonderful. Okay. I'm just going to put some straights in then, in the hopes that that'll make it a bit easier to work out what's going on. We shall see if that's actually the case or not once I've finished with them. Put the gap in. Okay, so there's off the line towards Salisbury, which is the top one for me, there's a set of points away from Warminster. Probably I want that would be my guess. There we go. I'm going to put a curve in there. Do we have points there? No. The points are there. And fill in the rest with straights. Warminster Station is here. We also have line to a continuation, and that's off to the MOD sidings, I think, are there. Then carrying on, we have a signal and another signal. And actually, looking at it, there's a crossover street. Looking at it, Dilton Marsh might be better off being put in a map for Westbury. So I'm actually just going to end it there. It just means some of my spacing is a bit weird here. I won't deny that. I've got so much empty space in the top left. Normally you'd want the empty space in the bottom area. But oh well. It's in the top left today. Well, that's fine. What I'm going to do is put in bars here. This will become clear very quickly. The purpose of those. Then we connect the gaps together, so it flashes the gap it wants to connect to. So that will be that one, and then that one. Then we cross the tunnel, and then we have the top one there and the bottom one. All gaps set. Click the tick. Successful. So that means it was happy with that, clearly. I'm going to change the font to, first things first, green, bold and massive. And name, I was holding control, not shift. B and B. Then we'll use the move text tool, and I'll put the grid scale locking up a little bit. We'll put an A there and there. I put an extra line here that I didn't need. And a B there and there. And that just marks where the gaps connect to for ease of use. And then also going to remove that line. Tick. Then if I change the fonts to regular 15 and black, we'll name the stations. So we've got Warminster, Salisbury, Romsey. I can't remember what all the stations are. Chandler's Ford. Does that have a apostrophe? It does. Okay. The apostrophes become a little awkward when it comes to writing a timetable, but if it does have one, then I'll leave it in. Then we have Mottisfont and Dunbridge. And Dean. What I'm then going to do is take the font size and make it 14 or 15 and oblique maybe to Southampton. No, that's too big. 14. If I just do it again, it should change the size. No, okay, then we'll have it 12. There we go. That's closer to what I wanted. To Eastleigh. This line is the West of England main line. And this is to Basingstoke, which I have spelt wrong. Then this is to Westbury. I might change this to Exeter. That's the eventual destination along there. Then I'm going to drop the size again to 10, and we'll name the other location. So this is Warminster MOD sidings. That had a name. What was that one's name? Which map was it on? This one? No. It was named on one of the maps. Quidhampton siding. That's what it was named. Salisbury head shunt, I'm going to call that. I don't know what it's actually called. Salisbury reception. Happy with that. Salisbury TRSMD. That's also a head shunt in a way, isn't it? Salisbury inner head shunt. And this one will be renamed outer head shunt. Everything's overlapping at the moment, but I'll fix that in a minute. We also have... the yards have different names, so I've just got to work out what they are. Salisbury East Yard is here. I've spelt it wrong. These are Salisbury East carriage sidings. And it's a matter of signal numbers and stuff, mainly. That's... I guess I'm going to call it a station siding. Salisbury Station siding. Salisbury West siding. Good name as any. Signal numbers come from this map. So we've got signal 240. Signal 217. 217. Salisbury signal 215. What do you call this? Salisbury East siding. Don't think I've got that yet as a name. Salisbury signal 213. Salisbury signal 203. And Salisbury signal 201. Then I need to, I'm just going to call that Romsey siding. I don't know what it's actually called, but that's good enough. So then it's a matter of moving names so that they all fit nicely. What we can also do is, if instead of clicking the location I click the name itself, I can edit what it displays as without changing what the program views it as. So the program will still see that as Warminster MOD sidings. So I do this a lot around stations, so all of the Salisburys, I'll leave Salisbury itself, but the others I will remove the Salisbury from. And just, you can use it, the location, to work out what it is. Not sure what I'm going to do about Quidhampton siding. I might put it across two lines, which basically means I have to take siding out of one of them and put it on a separate bit of text. And then the move text button. I think that works better. Here we've got the... I'm just going to use outer. This one's going to be just inner. And I'm going to have another bit that says head shunt. And what I'm going to do is move the text like that, and actually I'm going to make that, instead of saying head shunt, I'm going to make it plural. Head shunts. If I turn off the grid as well, you can see what it will look like. I think that's probably the best way to display it. This can be shrunk down to just reception. This can be just SIG 240. Actually, I'm not happy about that. All the others I actually wrote out signal. It can display SIG 240, but internally I want the full word. Oh, I've got two now, wonderful. That one can go. This can be west siding. This can be... Don't do that. Station siding. I'm going to move the Salisbury text across a little bit so that I can put the station siding label in. Then take that down to just TRSMD. Take this to just East Yard, and this just East Carriage siding. And once again move the text. It's a bit of a time-consuming process, but it's not too bad. Just have that the east side. Actually, I might even abbreviate siding. And SIG 213. Before we carry on, I will just move those into place. Right, okay, new plan here. We're actually going to have just the numbers displayed, and then a new bit of text for signals. 217, 215, and signals above it. There we go. East siding can move across a little bit. SIG 213 can move to the right a little bit. There we go. I've got to shorten these names as well, so that's always fun. It's going to be a long episode, this, but it doesn't make sense to split it up because it's effectively a tutorial. This is why I don't do the whole process in one. But I thought it through. I did one of the routes I made before, a couple of weeks back, was Romford to Upminster, tiny branch line in London. It took me an hour to make the entire thing. I should have done that for the videos because it would have been quick. But no, I chose Salisbury to Romsey, which is, admittedly, this is one of the smaller routes I've done recently, but it's still quite a sizable one. I just want to rename that just siding. There we go. I think that's everything. That doesn't look too bad to me. You can see what everything is. Nothing overlaps. So I'm just going to save it as Romsey and Salisbury, as that's what I want it to be called. And we're done. That is episode 1 complete. It was an hour. Okay. So, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. This will be continuing for a couple of weeks while I finish the route, so it'll probably be 3 or 4 more episodes. So, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.